We would like to welcome our incoming Lincoln kindergarten parents. We are very excited to meet you and your children very soon. My name is Ralph Bryan. I'm the Lincoln principal, and I am joined by our awesome kindergarten team here at Lincoln. And we're going to share some things here with you virtually since we can't be face-to-face. And we'll do our best to replicate what we always try to do when we are here at school having our kindergarten roundup. And at the end, we will talk about a way that we can be back together with you and share answers to all the questions that you may have as your kiddos start their journey. As I said, my name is Ralph Bryan. I'm the building principal here, and we're going to be joined here at the end by Mrs. Jen Jacobson, who is our amazing counselor. And next, I'd like to introduce our kindergarten team. Our kindergarten team includes Mrs. Katie Clausen, Mrs. Stephanie Kane, and Mrs. Lynn Klein, and they will all be speaking here in just a moment to you. We include this next slide because you will hear us refer to our school and our school culture as Team Lincoln, and we are really excited for you to join our team and your kiddos to join our team. But we truly believe that when we work together with all different groups, that we see the best result for all of our kids. And so we're excited for that to continue. And as we started, again, welcome to our school. We strongly believe at Lincoln that the best way for us to make the greatest progress with each child is to partner with you. You have been their first teacher and you are their family, and we welcome your involvement. We have had an amazing school year this year in spite of some challenges with COVID. And I would like to just really quickly reflect for you kind of what that year has looked like for our kids. Our goal as a staff and as a school district this year has been to be in person as much as possible. And we have been able to do that this year. We have done that through wearing masks and washing hands and washing surfaces, and with just a few minor tweaks to our schedule. I bring this up only because we cannot yet predict what things will look like when we come back to school in the fall, but I promise you that we will keep you updated and keep your kiddos safe through whatever means necessary. So we are excited again to be back here in person, and we'll do what it takes to make that happen. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to members of our kindergarten team, and they're going to describe to you what kids will learn as they enter kindergarten. So I'm going to first turn it over to Mrs. Clausen, and she's going to talk with you about reading.
Hi families, we are so glad that you are joining our Lincoln team here. One of our big rocks is reading, and in reading, we focus on beginning of the year, we focus on our letter names and sounds. Then by mid-year, we're working on pattern books. And by the end of the year, we're working on reading books with story-like, that are story-like, and we're reading more and more, becoming avid readers. We fly into our reading adventure, becoming super readers, and we learn about reading using our superpowers like pointer power, reread power, and we have a lot of fun engaging our students and when they're using their reading superpowers.
Thank you, Mrs. Clausen. At this time, I'll ask Mrs. Klein to share with our group about some of the big rocks we have in writing for our kindergartners.
Hello families, I'm Mrs. Klein, and I'm so excited to meet each of you and to be able to get to know your little kiddos. We refer to them quite often. So welcome to Lincoln, we're glad you're here. We want to talk to you a little bit about writing. Yes, we start writing in kindergarten, and I'm sure at home you can see your children writing on a variety of surfaces maybe, which at school we'll transition them into writing on paper, and they begin their year writing or drawing pictures about things they know about. So this would include maybe some favorite animals at home, some favorite games, some favorite toys they have. This gets them comfortable with the idea of them being a writer. We move forward into pattern books. So you heard Mrs. Clausen talk about reading with pattern books. Well, they start to create their own pattern books in writing as well. Our curriculum carries over from reading to writing to phonics. It's all interwoven. And so it really makes a great impact with the students' learning. As we become more comfortable with our letter sounds and knowing those through phonics, we move into writing multiple sentences on pages. That is our goal for the end of the year. And we also begin to focus on creating those conventions of writing, like punctuation and spaces, uppercase, lowercase letters. And then some of the ways you might be able to help your child at home is letting them write maybe a list, a grocery list for you. Maybe they need to write a list about different toys they have in their room. Encourage them to use the sounds that they are hearing. We call this stretching your words. So just encourage them to write what sounds they hear instead of you telling them, you spell cat, C-A-T, you can say, oh, what sound do you hear first? I hear a k, k sound. So that would help them a lot be able to stretch the word and be comfortable with their writing. We start our year off writing our names also, and that helps us become more comfortable with writing. One of the other ways that we become more comfortable with the things that we are writing is learning some, we call them snap words. They're actually sight words, you may have heard them, or high frequency words, you may have heard them referred to, but they're words that we just know in a snap. We don't have to think about them. We can't usually stretch them out, but they are important for us to be in both reading and writing to be able to write more fluently and read more fluently. We'll send these lists home throughout the year so that you have them, as well as activities that you can practice with them. Just make it a routine. Just like you read to them every night before bed, read through some snap words every night. Have them write some of the snap words. Writing is fun, and we want to encourage our kids to have fun in reading and writing and all the subject areas we are teaching. So we look forward to doing that with your child.
Thank you, Mrs. Klein. Mrs. Kane is going to share with us about our big rocks in math.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Kane, and just like Mrs. Clausen and Mrs. Klein, I'm excited for you to be a part of Team Lincoln. In math, we cover lots of different topics, including geometry with 2- and 3-dimensional shapes, measurement with non-standard items, and our biggest focus happens to come with counting and moving all the way to the end of the year with addition and subtraction. Many of our students at the beginning of kindergarten are able to count up to 10. And to start our year, we focus very deeply on making sure that they are able to match one object to one number and counting those objects up to 10. We move as the year continues into being able to count up to 100 in multiple ways, including 1s, 5s, and 10s. And by the end of the school year, our students are able to understand addition and subtraction within 10 and able to decompose and compose those numbers. So being able to understand that we can mix numbers up and they still come up with 10. Ways that you can work on these skills or help your students be prepared for kindergarten are sorting objects at home, such as silverware or dishes as you're putting them away. Another way that you can help them is count naturally things that they're doing, such as count how many toothbrushes are in the toothbrush holder, or count how many shoes that they have in their closet. So anything natural to help encourage those math skills. We follow an inquiry-based model for teaching math. This means that we spend much of our time in math using manipulatives like counters and blocks, shapes and cubes, just to name a few. And this helps students think concretely about their math. They are able to move the manipulatives and parts around to see how math works, and it helps them build a solid foundation for future grades.
Thank you, Mrs. Kane. I'm going to go through just a few quick logistics that we think will help parents in really thinking about questions that they have had in previous years and things that might be on their mind as they prepare for the start of the school year. And I'm going to first start off with riding the bus. Each fall, our district will send, and I will also send it to our incoming families, sends a survey that allows our parents to indicate interest for the bus. At the elementary, you must live a mile away from school to qualify to ride the bus. And so we'll talk about that on the next slide. In the past, we have had bus helpers who have helped, and these are older students who come down a few minutes early from their classroom, and we train them to walk with our younger students to the cafeteria where they will board the bus. Our teachers, to try to make things easy for not only the kids, but for staff helping, will make bus tags that go on their backpacks. That way, everyone who encounters that child will know exactly what bus they need to hop on to make sure they arrive safely at home. I got a little ahead of myself, but the bus, as I said, you have to live more than 1 mile away from Lincoln, but you can sign up to ride the bus. And if there's room that you can pay to ride, and those fees are listed here. These are all based on the prices for this school year and are subject to change as we think ahead to next school year. In addition to that, we have a lot of kids who get picked up at the end of the day. And we have exterior classroom doors that really empty onto our east playground. And we'll ask parents to stay outside those doors, and then our teachers will do a hand-to-hand dismissal. So we would like to see the adult that's picking them up and make sure we're releasing them to an individual that you've given permission to pick up. And we work very hard to have our end of the day dismissal go smoothly. And very simply, we will only release kids to adults that you give us permission to release them to. And we will not change from that plan unless you notify us during the day. Lunch is a big thing that all of our kindergartners learn about, and it's kind of an exciting time, but also filled with some challenges and some opportunities. Just kids can choose to purchase school lunch, and the cost for this year is $3. To do cold lunch, students can bring that from home. We ask that you are very thoughtful about what you place inside the lunch. We want the kids to be independent and able to open all items at all when they come. That might look like practicing in advance and making sure that your student can open things and really providing things that allow them to be successful. In addition, we will build in snack times during our day because we know the day can be long for all of our kids. And they get hungry because they're busy and working hard. We ask very, very strongly that you send only healthy snacks at snack time. Examples of that would be fruits and vegetables, string cheese, and crackers. Any sugar-filled snacks won't help them learn at their best. And so these healthy snacks will help them continue their learning throughout the day. Many families are beginning to think about what will the kids do before school if I work, or after school if I'm not available to pick them up. One option that's available to our families here at Lincoln is before and after school care that is provided by the YWCA. And we have included that link there, and we encourage families to have those conversations as soon as possible if that is a before or after care that you may need. And now we're going to ask for Mrs. Jacobson, our amazing counselor, to just give a few words to parents who may be thinking about preparing to send either their first child or second or third child to our building to join us for kindergarten.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant, and welcome again to everybody. I'm Mrs. Jacobson. I'm the counselor here at Lincoln. These kind of ideas I'm going to share are based on my 20 years as an elementary counselor, but even more so on my 3 experiences as a mom, sending my own kids to kindergarten, because I think that's where you really learn the ins and outs, and it's an exciting time, and it can be an emotional time. And so these are just some tips that we've learned over the years that have really helped set our kids up for success, because that's what we want. Just a reminder, as with everything, kids will take their cues from you, right? So if you're talking excitedly about kindergarten and how great it's going to be, they'll kind of feel that. If you're really, as a mom, we sometimes have to be actresses, right? I have to hide how nervous I might be about something for my kids, just to help them feel ready. So the more you can talk it up, and our public library has a fantastic section on books about back to school, or there's a Amazon list, read books about school and how exciting it is and fun, and really have those conversations over the summer. Typically we suggest some play dates before school. Again, we're still maneuvering through this strange time of COVID, so we have to take that into consideration. But even coming and playing on our school playground, getting familiar with being around the building can kind of help with that transition. And then anything you can do to set your kiddo up for success. As Mr. Bryant mentioned, go on a picnic and practice opening everything in your lunchbox. At the beginning of the year, we have a lot of supports in the lunchroom for our kindergartners, and we will certainly help them, and they learn to raise their hand. But just the more kids can feel independent and in charge of themselves, it tends to help them. I would also encourage you to, in those first couple weeks, have them try hot lunch when there's lots of people in there to help. Traditionally, Wednesday is pizza day, and that's Papa John's Pizza. It's a real popular day, and it's great to practice just going through that line and getting everything neat and eating it, because, you know, over the course of their years here, most kids will have hot lunch sometime anyway. So it's great to just get that in when there's lots of supports there. Practice kind of managing themselves and setting them up for success there with shoes that they can Velcro, or if they're tie shoes, make sure they practice tying them. Again, not that we won't willingly help them, but if there's 20 kids in a room and they all need their shoes tied, it can take some time, right? Things like zipping those coats and just those basic self-care tips really just help kids feel independent and ready to be here. I will add, we have such a blessing of a wonderful air conditioning system here at Lincoln. But in August, when it's 90 degrees out, it can feel really chilly in the classroom. And some kids, that just really dysregulates them to be so cold. So we encourage, you know, a sweater or a sweatshirt and a backpack. Just thinking ahead to things like that. You know, you are the expert on your child. You know what they will need or what might throw them. So anything we can do to help support that, we want to do that. This is kind of a silly one, but making sure your child knows their first and last name. There was a year we had about 5 Williams, and 2 of them didn't know their last names, and we sorted them into the right place, but it was really stressful for those kids, and we were trying to help them, and they didn't know their last name. And so just a basic kind of self-care skills like that are fantastic. My only other piece of advice, or that we ask for you to know, is just the more that we can communicate with the teachers, with their office, with myself and you know, we want to all be on the same team. The more we can communicate with you and problem solve there, the more successful your kids tend to feel and be, right? So when we're on the same page and we're in the loop and we're all working together, it just works for what we all want, is the best possible kindergarten experience for your child. So the last thing I'll say is just be prepared. These little ones will be tired after these first days of school. It is a lot of skills they're learning and functioning in a group. And so just kind of expect that, and maybe do what you can on your end to, you know, the years my kids started school, we never took a big Labor Day trip because they were exhausted and they just needed to be home and with their family. So that is to be expected. And it's an exciting time for all of us, and we just really look forward to having them here next year.
Great. Thank you, Mrs. Jacobson. We will not play this video, but our district nurses have created a video that will share information about health services that are available in all of our schools. This is particularly important as it will talk about immunization needs prior to starting school, as well as if your child might need to take any sort of medication or has any unique health needs. And in your kindergarten registration packet, there is a health update for you to fill out. So when I post this video, I will post a link to directly watch this, as it's included in our presentation. Oh, excuse me.
Welcome, kindergarten parents. My name is Lori Rasmussen, and I'm one of the school nurses here in.
Sorry about that. We know that it looks a little different this year because we cannot be face-to-face. And usually when we have our kindergarten roundup, we have the opportunity to answer questions or talk with you one-on-one. We're going to do our best to replicate that. And we're going to do that with a question and answer session via Zoom. And that will be on Thursday evening, April 1st at 5:30 p.m. I will send an email to all the parents that we are planning to have here at Lincoln next year with that Zoom link. And I will provide that Zoom link to any parent that emails and requests it. And so we will look forward to doing that. We have some questions that families typically ask, and we'll use those to get us started. And then throughout that session, we will use our chat to see your questions and kind of answer those one at a time. At this time, we would like to conclude our roundup and the information that we have prepared to share. But I would like to just end by thanking you for taking a moment and hanging in there with us with this unique way of presenting this information, but also just to tell you how excited we are to meet you. And the first chance we get to do that is on May 19th. Our Kinder Visit Day is scheduled for May 19th, starting at 1 p.m. here at Lincoln, and we're very excited we'll be able to do that face-to-face. And that'll be the first chance that we get to meet, and we're really, really looking forward to that already. In the meantime, should you have questions, you can see my email is there below, and anybody here at our school is more than happy to help you with questions that you have. So I'd like to thank you for joining us, Mrs. Jacobson, Mrs. Clausen, Mrs. Kane, and Mrs. Klein. Have a great evening. Thank you.